That's no good. That whole
गजाननं भूतगणाधिसेवितं कपित्थजम्बू फलसारभक्षितम् उमासुतं शोकविनाशकारणं नमामि विघ्नेश्वर पादपङ्कजम् नमामि विघ्नेश्वर पादपङ्कजम्।
A hearty Sairam to all our viewers. It's time to refresh ourselves with the teachings of our beloved Guru, Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. And as we drench ourselves in the nectarine shower of Bhagwan's love, teachings and grace, we invite all of you to join us.
పరమపావనమైన భారతావనియందు సహనమైనదే మనకు చక్కదనము. ప్రేమ స్వరూపురాలు,
embodiments of love.
ఈనాటి మానవులకు సహనం అన్నది ఏమిటో తెలియకపోతున్నది.
The modern man has no idea of what sahana, tolerance is.
సహనం అన్నది భారతీయుని యొక్క అందచందమని గుర్తించుకోలేకపోతున్నారు.
People are not able to realize that it is the tolerance which is the real beauty of the sacred land.
సహనం లేనటువంటి మానవుడు మానవుడే కాదు.
One cannot be a human being bereft of tolerance.
హీనులను కురూపులను చూచినప్పుడు మానవునకు సహనం అన్నది పోయి అసహ్యము అనేటువంటిది ఆరంభిస్తున్నది.
When man comes across the unfortunate and the physically challenged, he has got expression of the disgust instead of sympathy and tolerance.
నిజముగా సహనం అన్నదని కేవలము గొప్ప విలువైనటువంటి యొక్క మంత్రము మన భారతీయులకు.
In fact, this tolerance is the most important, highly sacred mantra to Bharatiyas.
ఇటువంటి పవిత్రమైన మంత్రమును వదిలి యంత్రతంత్రముల చేత మానవుడు కేవలము అమాయకత్వంలో పడి అజ్ఞానములో మునుగుతున్నాడు.
He has forgotten the sacred principle of tolerance. He is carried away by all the machinery and different procedures and is remaining himself drowned in ignorance.
There is one point that must be noted here. When Bhagwan refers to the term Bharatiya, he does not refer to a person who resides in the geographical boundaries of country India. Bha stands for Bhagwan or God. Rati is deep attachment. And so, a Bharatiya is a person who has deep attachment to God. And this is no ordinary love or attachment. It is the soul's deep longing for God. And thus, the term Bharat refers to the place of residence of such a lover of God. Now, Bhagwan dilates further on the principles of love and forbearance.
ప్రేమ స్వరూపులారా, ప్రేమ అన్నది ఒకరినొకరు ప్రేమించుకోవటం కాదు, అది కాదు ప్రేమ.
Embodiments of love. Love does not merely mean loving each other.
హృదయాన్ని ఇచ్చి హృదయాన్ని పుచ్చుకునేటువంటిది ప్రేమ.
Love is only a matter, heart to heart, love to love.
కానీ అలాంటి పవిత్రమైనటువంటి మార్గము ఈనాడు మర్చిపోతున్నారు భారతీయులు.
Bharatiyas have forgotten this sacred path of love.
అనాది కాలము నుండి పవిత్రమైన మన భారతదేశం నందు మనల్ని వెంటాడుచు మనల్ని కాపాడుచు అన్ని విధాల కంటి రెప్పవలే మన వెంట తిరిగేటువంటిది నిజమైనటువంటి దైవ ప్రేమ.
Since ancient times, It is only the sacred principle, the sacred one of the divine love, which is haunting us, which is after us, which is responsible for the sustenance of our life.
ఇటు దివ్యమైనటువంటి యొక్క దైవ ప్రేమను మనము ఎక్కడ పెట్టామో ఏమో గుర్తించుకోలేకపోతున్నారు.
We are not able to know where we have hidden this divine love.
ఎందు చూసినా అందే కనిపిస్తున్నది.
In fact, it is present everywhere.
అందు ఎందు కలడని కాదు, ఎందెందు వెతికిన కూడాను ఆ దైవ ప్రేమనే కనిపిస్తుంది.
In fact, you can see the divine love wherever you see, wherever you find.
కనుక భారతీయులారా, భక్తి ప్రపత్తులనగా అనాది కాలం నుండి భారతీయులను వెంటాడుచు, భారతీయులను కాపాడుచు, కంటి రెప్పవలే చూస్తూ వచ్చినది ఈ దైవ ప్రేమని.
Bharatiyas have been sustaining their life because of their devotion and sincerity, and it's a divine love which has been protecting everyone like that of an eyelid.
దైవ ప్రేమ తప్ప జగత్తునందు ఏ ప్రేమ కూడాను జగత్తులో కానరాదు.
In this world, universe, you don't find any other thing equal to that of
ఈ
divine love.
కనిపించేటువంటి ప్రేమలన్నీ కూడాను భూటకములు, నాటకములు.
All other forms of love are just bhutaka, falsehood, nataka, the drama.
కానీ నిజమైనటువంటి ప్రేమ తన నాభి నుండి ఆవిర్భవిస్తుంది.
The true love emanates, originates right from the navel.
అట్టి ప్రేమను మనం తీసుకోవటం, సంపాదించుకోవటం, అది నాకు చాలా ఇష్టం.
Bhagavan wants us to experience and share with everybody that wholehearted love.
ప్రేమకు మించినటువంటి ప్రేమ జగత్తులో ఎట్టి చూచిన కూడాను అది ప్రేమ కానేరదు.
In comparison to the divine love, you don't find any other love in this world equal to that.
లౌకికమైన భౌతికమైనటువంటి ప్రేమలు కావలసినన్ని లభిస్తాయి మనకు.
The worldly love, the physical love, the ephemeral love is plenty enough in this world.
వీటినన్నిటినీ ప్రేమ అని పిలుచుటకు అర్హత లేదు.
In fact, they don't deserve to be called love.
ఒక్క ప్రేమ హృదయం నుంచి హృదయానికి రావాలి.
True love should originate out of human heart.
Our Swami is an expert in giving examples. The mic in front of him, the lights above, the tumbler of water, his handkerchief, all these become objects in giving us profound lessons. And when Swami teaches us the term Sahasra Shirisha Purushaha, he says that it does not mean that the Lord has a form with 1,000 legs, 1,000 hands, or 1,000 heads. He says that it means that God is present in every being, and therefore every hand, every leg, every head belongs to God. Swami dilates on this principle and tells that we must therefore salute everyone, for everyone is an embodiment of God. And he dilates this with his own unique example.
ఇది ఏమిటి?
What is this?
ఇది పుష్పం.
This is a flower.
ఇది పుష్పం అని అందరూ వర్ణిస్తుంటారు.
People go on describing this flower.
ఇది దైవ హృదయ పుష్పము.
God is the real flower.
ఇది పుష్పం సామాన్యమైనది కాదు.
Flower is not ordinary one.
ఇది భగవంతుని యొక్క హృదయంతో కూడినటువంటిది.
This is symbolic of the heart of God.
దీనికి ఎన్నో రేఖలు ఉంటున్నవి.
It has got so many petals.
ఈ రేఖలన్నీ నువ్వు తీసివేస్తే పుష్పం ఎక్కడుంది?
When you go on removing petals, where is the flower?
కనుక ఈ రేఖలే భగవంతుని యొక్క లేఖలు.
Rekalu, the petals, are the lekalu, the letters of the divinity.
ఎవరి ప్రేమలోని లేఖ ఒక్కటి తప్పిపోయిందా వాడు ప్రేమ స్వరూపుడే కాదు.
If one misses this letter of love, you cannot call him the embodiment of love.
దీని అన్నింటికి ఆధారం ఒక్కటే.
There's only one fundamental basis for all.
అది ఏ మూలాధారమైనటువంటి యొక్క ఆత్మ.
That is the primordial principle of the self or Atma.
ఆత్మనే ప్రేమ అని పిలుస్తూ వచ్చారు.
The self Atma is love.
దానిని మరొక రీతిగా పిలుచుటకు పేరు లేదు.
You cannot call it by any other name other than this Atma.
ఈ ఆత్మకే అనేక రకములైనటువంటి ప్రేమలు.
It is this Atma that manifests in varied manner.
మన తల్లి, తండ్రి, సోదరులు, సోదరి వీరందరూ కూడాను ఈ యొక్క పుష్పం యొక్క రేఖలే.
The mother, father, brothers and sisters all represent the petals.
అందరూ చేరినటువంటిదే కుటుంబము అనేటువంటి పుష్పము.
All together constitute the flower of the family.
కనుక మనం ఒక కుటుంబ ప్రేమలుగా ఉంటున్నంత మాత్రాన చాలదు.
It's not enough if we have this family relationship.
విశ్వ కుటుంబీకుడుగా నీవు కావాలి.
One should belong to this universal family of universe.
ఎవరిని చూచినా నమస్కారం, 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 నమస్కారం.
You should be able to respect, salute, namaskar everyone whom you come across.
దీనికి మించినటువంటిది ఎక్కడైనా మనకు లభిస్తుందా?
This sort of respect towards everybody, you don't get more than this in this world.
కనుక నీకు జగత్తులకు కనిపించినవన్నీ కూడాను దైవ స్వరూపములే.
All that is apparent in this cosmos is verily is divine.
దైవము కానటువంటిది ఒక్కటి కూడాను జగత్తులో కానరాదు.
In this vast world, you don't find anything other than
ఈ కనిపించినవన్నీ కూడాను వస్తువులుగా నీవు భావిస్తున్నావు.
You consider mereless objects of this material world.
ఈ వస్తువులన్నీ కూడాను దైవ కృపములే.
The material objects of this world also are symbolic of God's grace.
కనుక ప్రపంచంలో భగవంతునికి మించినటువంటిది మనకు ఒక్కటి కూడాను కానరాదు.
Therefore, it is certainly established there is nothing beyond God in this
కనుకనే
world.
మనం పిచ్చివారం అయిపోయి భగవంతుడు ఎక్కడో ఎక్కడో అని వెతుకుతూ ఉన్నాం.
Like madcaps who are in search of God elsewhere.
ఎక్కడ చూసినా కనిపించినది దైవమే.
It's only God who is present everywhere.
దైవము కానటువంటిది లోకంలో ఒక్కటి లేదు.
In this world there is nothing other than the divinity.
Is it any surprise then that Bhagwan tells us to relentlessly serve society? And how should this service be? It is not that we are helping somebody. We are redeeming our own selves with our service. Bhagwan gives the example of a saint who jumped into the gutter slush in order to save a struggling calf. When he was praised for his selfless service, he said, "When I saw the calf struggling like that, I had such an intense suffering in my heart. I did not do anything selfless. I merely relieved the pain in my own heart. That's all." That is how service must be. And when we do this kind of service, Bhagwan promises us that we shall be able to see him in everyone all the time.
ఆ అంగహీనుడైనటువంటి పిల్లలను,
The handicapped,
ఆ సైకిల్ పైన ఎక్కిస్తూ ఉంటే నాకు ఎంతో విచారమైంది.
Bhagavan felt very, very sad when these physically challenged handicapped are lifted to three-wheelers.
వారు దైవస్వరూపులు.
They are embodiments of love.
అలాంటి దైవస్వరూపుణ్ణి మన అంగమునందు ఉంచుకొని మనము ఏదో హీనుడిగా భావించి మనము వాటితో తెల్లాటలాడుతున్నాము.
In fact, we consider them so low, forgetting the fact they are divine.
హీనుడైనటువంటి వాడు లోకంలో ఎక్కడ కూడా కానరాడు.
There is none in this world who are low.
ఆ హీనమైనటువంటి గుణము మన యందే ప్రతిబింబిస్తుండాలి.
That quality which is so low and mean is in you only.
అది భగవంతుని క్వాలిటీ కాదు.
It's no way the God's quality.
భగవంతునికి క్వాలిటీలే లేవు.
God has no attributes or qualities.
అతని క్వాలిటీ ఒక్కటే ఒకటి.
But he has got only one quality.
ప్రేమనే అతని క్వాలిటీ.
The quality of love is the quality of God.
ప్రేమనే అతని స్వరూపము.
Love is his form.
నిన్నెవరైనా ప్రేమతో సంభాషిస్తే అది నాకు ఎంత ఆనందమో చెప్పలేను.
Bhagavan says it is beyond expression as he talks to people lovingly.
ఆ ప్రేమ లేకుండా కేవలము పరిహాసంతో కానీ లేక పవిత్రమైనటువంటిదని కానీ భావించి నన్ను వర్ణిస్తుంటే అది నాకు చాలా అసహ్యం వేస్తుంది.
On the other hand, if you talk as a matter of fun, limiting to description, Bhagavan is vexed or disgusted with such talk.
కనుకని ప్రేమతో నన్ను పలుకరించండి.
Talk to Bhagavan with all your love.
ఆ ప్రేమతో పలికినటువంటి పలుకులకు అన్నిటికీ అక్కడనే జవాబు వస్తుంది.
You get the response then and there itself when your words are full of love.
ప్రేమతో సాయి అని పిలుచు.
Say with all love, Sai.
ఓయి అని పలుకుతారు.
You get the response, Oi, Oi.
కనుకనే ప్రేమ లేనటువంటిది మాత్రము నన్ను ఏమాత్రం కదిలించలేదు.
Nothing can touch or move Bhagavan if
ఆ
there is no
ప్రేమను
love.
మాత్రము కవరుగా చేసుకొని నన్ను పలకరిస్తే నేను ఎప్పుడైనా పలుకుతుంటాను.
Bhagavan will certainly respond if we talk to him with love.
ध्यानमूलं गुरोर्मूर्ति पूजामूलं गुरोर्पदं मन्त्रमूलं गुरुर्वाक्यं मोक्षमूलं कृपा. Sai Ram. Happy and holy Guru Poornima to each one of you. What a wonderful day it is, wherein a wonderful, wonderful, highly motivating and uplifting interactive session is coming up, and also some wonderful music is also lined up. I'm glad you all are here, could join. I hope you all have enjoyed Swami's videos, Swami's discourse. Swami said lovingly, you say Sai, I will be there by saying Oi. You know, in the same rhyming, I want to add, whenever we call Sai, he will be there by saying Oi. I want to say that whenever he is there with us, we all would experience that high. That high is nothing but, you know, that protection, that comfort, that assurance, that divine assurance for all of us. A quick few announcements for the center. By Swami's grace, we all are doing good. All our devotees, all our membership is doing well, even in the days of COVID. Everything is going wonderful. I'm glad everyone is able to participate. Yeah, of course, even though it is through online, very happy that all of you are able to join, and collectively we are able to pray and offer our love to Swami. Quickly, 513C for our center. The paperwork has been submitted, and we have received the approval from the state. And of course, few more steps need to be in place so that it gives us that comfort. I know for service projects and so on, center spends quite a bit. This all can be channelized through this account. What a wonderful thing to really be equipped with. On the same note, A lot of wonderful things are happening, and starting today, what we are doing is, it's not really like floodgates open, no, but at the same time, slowly, we want to start the devotion program, in-person devotion program, take place. So starting today, we are doing it from our home, but of course, in fact, we can rotate and we can, take this program and conduct it at any, of our devotees' place. But we just started, in a small scale. Luckily, today it's a shortened version of bhajans anyway, bhajans and a little bit of music towards the end. But however, the idea is between now and September, we conduct these programs, of course, on a weekly basis, as much as possible with all good control. By taking precautions, we want to conduct the devotion program in person. And by September, sometime in September, hopefully by first week or second week of September, take this program to our center. So by Swami's grace, hopefully it all falls in place, and we'll get there soon. And also, yes, we will be able to meet at the center. It's all going wonderful. But given a chance, as always, I say, please join. I know everyone is praying. Let us intensify our prayers. There's nothing like having our own, building for our own center. Who knows? Swami will say it will be there by next Guru Poornima. Who knows? We will be celebrating at the building. So let us continue to offer our sincere prayers to Swami so that we will have permanent, home for our, Swami in Atlanta. And if you all look at a picture that is being shared through the session, it is basically US flag colors. I wanted to wish each one of us happy Independence Day. And for us, independence is nothing but freedom, and Bhagwan has lovingly provided us that spiritual freedom. He never asked us to, change anything. Only thing he asked is lovingly, become a better person, better individual. He always says, start your prayers with your mother and father, then followed by, stick to, one guru. So it is important, even though Bhagwan has given us that spiritual freedom, doesn't mean that we can let our mind be wavering and, floating all around. It is important that we have that stillness to experience that oneness with Bhagwan. With that, I will conclude, and over to Aaron so that we can dive into a wonderful program coming up with my brother Harish Krishan, then followed by a few closing remarks, then a few bhajans and medleys and so on. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, everyone. Happy Guru Poornima to each and every one of you who are watching today, and may Swami be blessing you and your family in this time. It's a doubly auspicious weekend in the sense that we are celebrating this country's birth, as well as celebrating our beloved Guru, Satya Sai Baba. With us today is none other than Harish Krishan, and our brother had the absolutely wonderful opportunity, as many of you know, and he's spoken to us at our center before, of attending Swami and being around him very regularly all through the days. And we are so thrilled to have him. A couple of details about Brother Harish. He was born and raised in Chennai. And he basically was introduced to Swami in the form of a photograph when he was about 7 years old. And eventually he became a student as well in Swami's University at Puttaparthi. And after he completed his MBA, actually it was 2003 was when he became his a student. And that was when he was going for his MBA. After completing the MBA, he was fortunate to serve in positions around the ashram, as well as to get the chance, beginning in 2005, of actually attending Swami. And this is obviously something that many of us have dreamed of, having such an opportunity. And he was a caretaker of Swamis for the period from 2005 until the Mahasamadhi. All through that period, he was with Swami on all sorts of trips. He went with Swami to Kodaikanal, Mumbai, Hadishi, and Chennai, and he had special interactions with Swami on each of those trips. He's, of course, has a plethora of stories, wonderful life wisdom, and we greatly are excited to have him with us. And just as a quick hello, Harish, are you there? Are you with us?
Sairam, Sairam Aaron, Sairam to all the devotees of Atlanta. Grateful to be part of the celebrations there. Happy Guru Poornima to all of you. Happy July the 4th. And as Swami gave the opportunity for our batch to perform in front of Swami, let us all move from independence to Swarajya. Sairam.
Sairam, brother. So happy that you're with us. We're going to do today a little bit of an interactive session. Folks, we will have definitely plenty of questions for Harish that we definitely want to cover. I have a broad topic of the evolution of a devotee, in this case Harish, from the presence of the Guru. And basically, I'd like to, with Harish's permission, I'd like for us to talk a little bit about his journey with Sai, because he's had a very unique journey, and it's one that very enviable in many ways, that we would all have liked to have spent such time with Swami. And we'd like to get some of the insights in your life and how that experience has affected you, your Guru having, of course, all of our Guru, but your Guru having affected you in a certain way. And just some reflections about all that time is, of course, those are treasures that all of us will enjoy, I'm sure. But beyond the questions that we ask, if people do have questions that come up, you can put them in chat if you are on Zoom, and I should be able to pick them up, and they may be relayed to me. I don't know what our capacity is on YouTube as well. But in any event, if you have questions, try to get them to the officers, and we may have time for those. We're planning about a little over an hour session with our brother Harish. And so just to get started, brother, well, how did your family come to Swami? Because I know you're not the first in your family that came to Swami. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sairam Aaron. So the first person who went into Swami's fold in our family was my uncle. And he was in Swami's fold before he got married into our family. So when he got married into our family, he had come home to visit for dinner, and that is when he brought Swami's photo with him to our home. But again, when you think back, you realize that there's so many things which happen, and when we talk about Swami, it is not just the individual frame of Swami, but if you're talking about how God came into our lives, then it becomes a very different conversation. So my mother and from her side, they have been devotees of Shirdi Baba. So they had been following him. And in fact, we have somebody in our family, I think, who have interacted with Shirdi Baba as well many years back. And from my father's side, they used to do the Satyanarayana Vratam, the puja to God in the form of Satyanarayana. And in fact, my mother, after she got married into her family, she wanted to be inducted into doing the same, but for various reasons that got delayed. And finally, after she got the opportunity to do it, the way when Mother Ishwarama did Satyanarayana Vrata, Swami came into her womb. The same way, after my mother started doing that, Swami started coming into her life. And very soon I joined Swami's college in MBA, and things have been moving more and more forward. So Swami kind of gave different channels by which we connected, and I'm very grateful to be born in a family like that, where from both sides of the family, through different forms, they took us close to Swami.
Jay Sairam, that's awesome to hear the parallel between your mother and Ishwarama. And so, I mean, these characters that we hear of, so, you know, Swami, everyone around Swami, will take on almost mythical proportions probably in some years, but we all relate to them because we're all contemporaries of the Lord, you know, in this time. And it's such a remarkable time for us to have been alive. And what I'd like to do today is to allow our listeners, allow the devotees that are listening to this to begin to enter your world, you know, what it was like for you as you first came to know of Swami, maybe a little bit about, you know, when you were first going to become a student there, what were your thoughts, what were your feelings about that? What were a little bit of, you know, the family reference there? Was your family pushing you to become a student, or how did that come about?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So I might have shared this during my last trip in Atlanta during my talk. So even though I became technically the first devotee of Swami in the form of Satyasai in our family, when our uncle brought the photograph, and I felt captivated, and I could not think of any other god's name or form. So it used to be Sairam, Sairam, whichever temple I go to. But by the time I came to teenage and all that, and I did not like many of I don't know if they can call them brothers anymore. Many of the children who are in Atlanta now get to be part of EHV and all the other Sai activities in the center, and they have people to talk about when they have questions about Swami, right? So I did not have anyone. I did not have the kind of support structure at that time. And when people would ask me questions about Swami and about why he does this, why he does that, I had no answers, and because I was not aware of anything beyond Swami's photograph. So slowly I drifted away from Swami, it appeared for me that I was drifting away from him, and I was not really very sure about uh, whether I should be following him, or because I don't know much about him. But then the only name which was familiar to me was Sairam. So that was the only thing which I was telling no matter where I went. So out of sheer convenience, I moved from Swami to Shirdi Baba, and started reading Shirdi Sai Satcharita and other interesting books on Shirdi Baba. And during that time, that yearning had started getting developed about wanting to spend time with Shirdi Baba. But even then, that conviction that Swami and Shirdi Baba were the same, though I knew technically, it was not very high. So, but during this time, because I was praying to Swami, my mother thought that if she has to pray for me, it was best if she prayed to Swami in the form of Satyasai. And so she used to start praying to Swami, and during that time, she had subscribed to Sanadana Sarthi and some of her friends at work. She was a scientist in the Central Leather Research Institute, and some of her friends were also starting to get very close to Swami's philosophies, and they informed her that there is a University of Swami, and maybe you should consider sending me there. So when I completed my engineering, I had so in south of India, we finish our engineering and think about what to do in our life. So I finished my engineering, and I'd written all kinds of entrance examinations. And that time, my mother told me that apparently there is one in Puttaparthi, and I said, okay, there are so many, why not there as well? So I had kind of applied to that as like 1 in 100. That's just another institute.
Wow.
And but when we had to go there for our interview, uh, interestingly, when we went there, there's a Gayatri temple there, and when my mother asked me to circumambulate around the temple, I refused, saying, "What if I did that and I got admission?" Because I was that adamant that I did not want to get admitted there. I was just coming there because my mother wanted to. And now, interestingly enough, after so many years, my mother has now settled in Prashant Nilayam, and she has the opportunity of serving the same Gayatri mother. So she's like decorating the mother and chanting every day, even now during COVID lockdown. So she has the opportunity because she's the caretaker of that temple. Now she goes there regularly. So how Swami kind of links all these things are very interesting. So I had refused to even do that then, and but I just went for I just wrote the exam by Swami's grace. I went into got to the group discussion, and when I went for the group discussion, that is when the ego started playing a part. It's like, okay, I have come to an institute. Okay, I have applied for the much bigger institutes in India, and this is such a small institute, and so how can I not do well? That arrogance was there.
Hmm.
And because of that arrogance, when the topics for group discussion, the way it started was they had put some 5 or 6 topics and said, as a group, first decide what topic you want to discuss on. And when the topic came, there was one topic called interlinking of rivers. So that was kind of a interesting topic at that time. And so I immediately, for some reason, the fact that that conversation is always there, I told Swami, I wish that was the topic. And everyone in the group, it was a unanimous decision. Everybody said, let us talk about that. I was like, that is interesting. And then we all spoke about it. And when I was speaking about it, I was talking about uh, the the celebrities who are endorsing this project. And as I was mentioning the name of various actors and politicians, I also included that even Satya Sai Baba has done a lot of water projects, and I'm sure that he also endorses it. I mean, I did not even say Bhagwan, I did not even say Swami. I said even Satya Sai Baba, I think, will endorse this. So that was the kind of arrogance with which I finished the group discussion.
Hmm.
And we went to the interview, and they did not even ask me many questions. I got in. And I was very surprised how I got into this MBA, because even my dress code was very different. When everybody else was there wearing white and white, I was there wearing a bright yellow shirt and a green pant. So I was standing out like a sore thumb in every way possible. And yet my name was in the final list. So then various things happened, which I'll probably not cover during this question. And I went ahead and joined my MBA. And on the first day of our MBA session, there was a professor called Naren Ramji, who used to teach marketing then. And he was also my project guide subsequently. So he was one of the students of the very first batch of MBA in Swami's college. So he told us that when he joined his MBA, the way Swami would select the students is he would make all the applicants stand in a line. And Swami would walk across the line and say, you, and pick up individual students for saying, okay, you all can join the MBA program.
That
So,
sounds so intense. That sounds
yeah.
like
So the professor said that, now it might appear that there is a very systemic process, that there is a written exam, there's a group discussion, there's an interview like any other B school. But believe me, all that is just an illusion. The Swami is still picking each and every student here, even now. It just appears as though we have a system in place. And I was thinking that that is probably the only way I could have got picked. Because there's in any other way, any other characteristic which you would see in any of the students who would typically apply for a position in Swami's school. And MBA, especially in our batch, was extremely competitive. So we had a very high number of even external students and students from Brindavan campus and Parthi campus who had applied, and there are a lot of applicants. So the only way I could have gotten is by Swami's quota, and that Swami's quota is what continued throughout my life.
for sure, brother. That's we know that there are no accidents in who gets chosen to go to the school. Um, and okay, so we've got that going, and I'm going to fast forward a little because I know that there's an arc here, but I want to jump ahead and talk a little bit about the process. You're starting from there, and then there's going to be a moment where you are chosen to be a caretaker. So there's a little space in between there as well. Were there any key experiences that connected those two dots? I mean, we're going to end up with you as the caretaker of Swami, and we want to hear all kinds of things about that. Was there any couple of experiences that took you from that very green sort of fellow that maybe was wise in a worldly way and maybe definitely had some qualities that Swami liked because he brought you to the university, but that took you to such a, I don't know if you want to say coveted position, but just a position that so many people would like to have of being around Swami all the time. Are there any key experiences between those two?
Thank you, Aaron. I think the first point is it's a huge misnomer to say that I was Swami's caretaker in any way, in the sense that the way I felt it worked is Swami has told very clearly that Prashanti Nilayam is a uh, asylum for the insane. So he would bring in people who are mad in many different ways, and he would treat them. So he said there are some people who are insane to such a high extent that they needed intensive care unit therapy with the doctor being beside them at all times. So I feel that I probably belong to that category. So Swami was like had to be an intensive care unit caretaker of mine, and that is why he had to create this illusion of me being his caretaker and all those kind of things. So how did the process?
Sorry, that's a wonderful way to phrase it, by the way. Definitely Swami is always the caretaker, let's make no mistake. Only we're talking about Maya and attendance or whatever that Swami had around. We would all like to have been that. So sorry to interrupt. Continue, Saira.
So again, this is an interesting thing which Swami had to do, right? So one very many of us who are even Balvikas teachers or EHP teachers, we have this experience that we go to a class and we try to talk to so many children about the way we have to connect to Swami, right? So we have a talk and then we describe about how a particular devotee connected with Swami, and we try to tell a story. But then we realize that every student in our class has their own very unique relationship with Swami, which we often don't even realize how they have developed. It's like we think that we are developing a particular type of relationship with Swami. We are most of the time we are trying to make Swami a picture of adoration, right? So we say, okay, every day you go in front of the altar and you start praying to him and you tell all these shlokas, you can chant all these verses, do all the sadhana. And yet we find that quite a few of the children seem to connect to Swami at a very different level. They see Swami as their friend, someone much closer to them than their own parents can be, and their own their own so-called worldly friends are, right? So very often we have to just remember that then, now, and forever, Swami operates with each person on one-on-one basis. And he develops a relationship with each person on the way that he feels would develop them, would probably bring out the maximum progress in that individual or what he wants to do with that individual. So when I was doing my MBA, and or even much before, when Swami was a photograph at our altar, for me, Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba was God, right? Of course, there was some time when there was a confusion, and I kind of tried to replace him with Shirdi Baba and all those things. But nevertheless, it was either a relationship of a God and a devotee or no relationship at all. There was no other type of relationship which was there between me and Swami. So, and that was the case even during my MBA. So when Swami came for darshan, he appeared, and after darshan, he disappeared. It was something very similar to going to a temple. The only difference was, instead of you going to the altar, to the principal deity, the deity was coming to you. You sit in one place and the deity goes around. So that is the very unique thing in Prashanti Nilayam, and that was for me the only difference. Other than that, I did not have any different relationship. But Swami probably saw that and saw that with this relationship, this fellow doesn't seem to be having any kind of development. There doesn't seem to be any kind of a change. So he is what he was, and there seems to be a need for me to develop a different relationship between him and me. And probably with that thought, on March 31st was my final day of my MBA, and April 2nd, I was going for my first job interview. So I was very grateful for my MBA, but that was about it. I had never even had this thought that I'm probably going to stay back after MBA I'm going to be in Prashanti Nilayam. I'm even going to be serving in the trust. or any such thing. I had no such thoughts. So I had completed my MBA. I was holding a letter praying to Swami that Swami, thank you for everything. I had an extremely wonderful 2 years of my MBA, and now I'm moving on. So I was holding a letter like that, and I was sitting, and so that day, so Swami was coming for darshan, and it was a very, very unique. Despite the fact that we are having everyday darshan for the last 2 years, uh, that was a very special darshan because that was probably the last time I'm getting to have a darshan of Swami as a student. Because if in for those of you who have been to Kulwant, you may be aware that there is a very sad place on the side of the stage, sitting on the back, which is allocated to the old students. So it's you really, when you come back after graduating and after you join a job and come and sit there, it's really, you feel a bit like an outcast. So, but when you are a student, you are sitting right in front of Swami, the most prime position that you could be sitting on. And so I was trying to enjoy that darshan to the maximum. So when Swami was coming, it was initially, Swami, you're coming so slow. I want you to come fast. I want you to collect my letter. I want you to see me eye on eye. I want to enjoy this. Possibly might even be our last eye to eye contact. Come fast, Swami. And the next moment, it was like, Swami, you're coming too fast. Come slow. I want to enjoy every aspect of your darshan. The way you smile, the way you adjust your hair, the way you take the letter, the way you give vibhuti to someone, the way you in a very obvious manner try to ignore somebody to teach them a lesson, and your mock anger, your unexpected smile, your absolute delight. I wanted to enjoy every aspect of it. So I was going through this extreme conflict, right? So I was at one moment I was ready, at one moment I was like completely in chaos. And then the moment came, Swami's car had a golf cart. Swami was coming in a golf cart at that time, and Swami's golf cart came near to where I was sitting, and I held the letter. Swami looked in the opposite direction. So I was like, okay, I did not get to give the letter to Swami. I did not get to take his leave, but still, I could not have asked for a much better darshan. Because very often in life, we really enjoy something only when we think that we are going to lose it, right? So to me, it appeared like that might be my last darshan, and the way I enjoyed that darshan was something so high, and so I can still even today recall that darshan more than any other darshan I've ever had. But then w- we may be satisfied, but Swami has to be satisfied. So he got down from the golf cart, and instead of going to the interview room as was his norm, he came and sat on the stage. And there I was sitting right in front of him with a letter, and Swami immediately called me. So I went and gave the letter to him, and he did not even uh, consider the letter. He just didn't even look at the letter. He took the letter and threw it on his lap. And then he started asking me a question about where is my warden. So that was the very first time Swami was having an interaction with me about something other than uh, uh, something specific I'm trying to speak to him about. I had an opportunity of being part of a few dramas and talking in front of Swami, give a couple of speeches. So those times I've given a letter. Swami has already spoken to me saying, okay, go speak, or you spoke well, or something like that. That is the kind of interaction I've had. This is the first time Swami was talking to me something which was absolutely unrelated to the situation and not related to the letter I've given him. And I started feeling, oh my God, Swami is having a conversation with me. Maybe we are going to develop a relationship. And when Swami went inside interview room, I quickly went to my father who was sitting in the devotees line and told him that I want to stay back for some more time. And these are the 2 months which we have to continue to be students. And because again, we go back to that sad old students block after the new students come in. So my father said, that's fine. And so all my luggage just packed and kept in the car. I just took out a few whites and a few colors to wear in the hostel. And the rest of my luggage went to Chennai with my parents. So now Swami was interacting with me on a regular basis, and he again once more in Swami's quota, I got picked for Kodaikanal as well. So which is considered like one of the highest peaks of what you can achieve in a student career. And so during that period of from Parthi to Kodai to back to Parthi, that is when he, through again various interactions and various manipulations internally, he kind of changed the relationship which we had from that uh, of a devotee and God to that of probably I would say a hero worshipper and a fan. In the sense that it was not so much of Swami being God and somebody who was coming in this form to actually someone who was uh, kind of in awe of this particular personality of Swami, as to this particular personality which the avatar has chosen to adorn. So I kind of wanted to get more close to this physical form and to see how much more to kind of understand what it is that drives this person, right? This human being who's also God. So that kind of a changed relationship is what developed between Parthi and Kodai, and that change in relationship was probably what was the most significant thing, with the big significant gap between being a student and uh, before he suddenly just one day he called me and asked me to take the chair. So there was no formal induction process, there was no group discussions, no interviews for getting into this so-called role of being Swami's attendant. He just called me one day and it happened very naturally. But what happened behind the scenes was this change of relationship between one which was completely towards uh, Swami as a god to Swami as a person as well, to get that unique relationship with him in the physical form.
Wow. And I'm wondering if that is, uh, definitely there's a play between you and Swami going on there. And is it, it's, of course, anyone can look at it and say, you know, he had set it up that way that you would start to see him more in a personal way, because there is an aspect to the avatar that is very relatable, very human, you might say. Definitely, we know Swami is beyond that aspect, but also that aspect manifests, and that's, there's a being that comes and takes letters from us. There's a physical form, everything like that. And we've arrived now at this spot that I wanted us to arrive at, and everyone is longing for, of course. So take us a little bit into your world now. As you take on this role of being with Swami, attending to things that he needs, what is it like for you day to day from those first days? Was it very exciting? Were you very nervous, of course? I mean, were there certain things, were you very worried most of the time? What was your mindset? Take us into your world. What were the protocols? Did anyone tell you how you were supposed to do things, or how did that go?
That's a very good question, Aaron. Again, that is something very unique to Prashantini Nilayam Swami's organization, right? Again, we come back to that concept of Swami's relationship with everyone being one-on-one. You would think that that applies to Swami as a god and Swami as a guru, but it also appears to Swami as the head of the organization. So even then, Swami's relationship with everyone was on a one-on-one level, and very frequently Swami would call many people and speak to them and guide them as to what needs to be done, both at the level of someone heading an organization to people who have just joined, people who have just been there, what he expects from them. So he was completely involved in everything that happened in his name, and he is, of course. So when I joined, again, that was the thing, because every relationship was unique, and this was again a relationship which was directly facing with Swami. Nobody can guide you. Nobody can tell you, okay, this is what you need to do, because how Swami, and this is the interesting part, it is not the student It is not the so-called attendant who adjusts to Swami. It is Swami who adjusts to us. So he selects whoever he selects for whatever reason, and he modifies his behavior in such a way that it is as much in sync as possible with the other person. So when I started doing duties, I did not know Telugu, right? Swami's chosen language of communication, his mother tongue. I used to speak my mother tongue, which is Tamil. And so Swami used to interact with me in Tamil. And in fact, the other people who used to be there around Swami, they used to tell me, wait, please learn Telugu fast, because since Swami is talking to you in Tamil, he's turning to us and talking to us in Tamil too. And we don't understand what he's talking about. So,
Yeah, go. Sorry.
yes, that is how it starts, right? So initially, it is like Swami is completely adjusting to you. And on my side, there was this feeling of extreme unworthiness, in the sense that you have seen the stalwarts who have been there doing, who has done this duty. You have, as student, they have been the heroes whom you have worshipped. In the sense that, okay, oh my God, look at that brother, look at the way he's walking. Look at the charisma of him, and just seeing him, you would understand the glory of Swami. That is the kind of things we talk about the people who were there with Swami before. And then I feel like and that is the beauty of Swami, that he does not call the qualified, he qualifies the called. So he picked me from nowhere and he put me in that spot. And the shoes that I mean that was the illusion which I had then, that there was the shoes that which I was filling, uh, because you do not fill somebody else's shoe. It is just a totally different shoe that you wear. And in fact, in Prashant Nilayam, you do not wear shoes. So I was kind of comparing myself with other people and feeling extremely inadequate. In fact, that was a time when Swami used to hold our hand and walk, right? So I used to feel like I'm such a huge figure. I was not only tall, I was also kind of, I was fat, and I am fat. And I felt like I was obstructing the view of devotees when I'm walking, right? I'm holding Swami's hand and I'm walking in front of him. And there are many other subtleties which I did not understand. In fact, I remember the very first time in Kodaikanal, when during this time of transition, right? When he asked me to help him stand up, when he was sitting on the chair and he asked me to help him stand up, I kind of held his hand in an extremely awkward way that it was most difficult for him to get up. And there were sounds of the way the other, I mean, my God, this fellow is creating problem for Swami. That kind of sounds were coming in the background and I was getting tensed. And then Swami just turned towards them, smiled and said, Papam alavatam ledu, which meant the boy does not have practice. So he decided that for the next 9 years he had to give me practice, or sorry, for the next 7 years or so he had to give me practice. And so that's what was happening, right? So it was a constant practice which I was having. And during those times, it was, again, that was the main feeling. And fortunately, there were some very, very wise people who have been with Swami for so many years at that time, who I could have a conversation with. There were, again, people who were not willing to speak, because that is one thing in Parthi. Swami is very clear. The most important discipline which we have to develop is the control of our tongue. So Swami says, our eyes, our nose, our ears, they all commit one type of sin. You see a bad thing, you smell a bad thing, you hear a bad thing. But a tongue can commit multiple sins. One is that you speak ill of somebody behind their back, or you accuse somebody, or you speak too much. So Swami says, if first you control the last part, don't talk too much. Don't talk anything which is unnecessary. Try to control as much as you can about your talk, and then automatically the other things will get controlled. So that is the first discipline which Swami kind of enforces on his students, especially those who are in the so-called form. So during that time, so many people would not interact, but then there were few who had gone to the step beyond that, and they were more comfortable, and they wanted to see who were seeing me struggling, and they were kind of trying to help me out. There was one person who started conversing with me in Telugu daily so that I could learn Telugu. And you won't believe this. I had, during my 2 years of MBA, I had refused to learn Telugu. I did not even learn any Telugu. After I joined, I started getting this opportunity, and I started intending to learn. Within 1 week, I could converse easily in Telugu.
Wow.
Again, it is impossible for me to even imagine. I'm not in any way a linguist. Subsequent to that, I have not learned any other language at that speed, or even made that kind of an attempt. But this just happened so smoothly, so easily, because he had chosen for it to happen. And that same devotee also gave me one very important advice. He said, it is important that we remember that Swami's mission happens despite us, not because of us. So I was like, sir, I completely understand that. In fact, I only know that right now my feeling is that Swami is struggling so much with having somebody as inadequate as me around him. He said, no, that is how we all feel in the beginning. But then a time will come when you feel extremely comfortable with what you're doing, and you feel like Swami depends on you. At that moment, you remember the statement: Swami's mission happens despite you, not because of you.
That
So,
reminds me of one quick story, brother, that I won't name the names, but there was one big fellow in organization, and those who know the story will know who it is. But there was big project going on, and he had to go to Swami because he had consulted with all experts, and they said, Swami, this can't be done, this project. And in this time frame, whatever, this can be done. And so the fellow goes to Swami and says, hey, Swami, this can't be done. And he said, hey, I already said it's going to be done. So you're given a chance to be of service. If you don't take it, it will move to someone else, which is just showing, that they're completely dispensable. But we are with Swami in his mission, and as long as we perform our duties, we get to enjoy being part of it. Anyway, Sire, I'm sorry to interrupt that, but I did have one other question. We glossed over a little bit the first time you took over as Swami's caretaker, or as just pushing the chair. There's little story there. And is that all it took? Did Swami tell you to come from that day forward, or how you can either tell the story and finish it with that, or just tell us how that transpired? Because then you started going every day, or what was it like?
I know it does appear shocking, right? It does not seem to be intuitive, but that's exactly what happened. So one day I was sitting, Swami called me and said, take the chair. And the day after, nobody is going to tell you, okay, now you sit here where Swami's chair comes, car comes, or that you have to sit in Bhajan Hall, or you have to sit here. Unless Swami tells you something, nobody is going to tell you anything. So it just depends on what Swami is going to do. So the next day I was just sitting there, and Swami again told me to take the chair. And so that's how it just became the norm. So there is absolutely no other process. There was no other yeah, intake. There's no background checks. None of those things happen. It was just as simple as it's just his word. See, that's what Swami, we were talked about. You just now referred to something like a huge project, whether it is a hospital or a Hanuman statue, for something smaller, or even for something as big as that. When Swami gives his word, he already knows that it is going to happen. Because Swami says his word is a Vajra Sankalpa. Vajra Sankalpa means it's a will as strong as a diamond. So when he says something, it has to come true. So whether it is a project or whether it's a human being, if he has chosen somebody, or if he says that, okay, you can start doing this, then that person can start doing this. So whatever skills or whatever abilities that is needed will automatically find their way. So that is actually as simple as that.
Yeah, wonderful. I mean, and we know that there's no need for the formality of things when Swami is overseeing, because we've heard so many stories about those things. And so, getting back, take us into your day to day. What is your day to day like once you take on this duty of being with Swami and attending to him? What is your day to take us, somewhat quickly through what is your normal day schedule like, or how does it operate? What was it like during those times?
Yeah, so many things changed through the years, right? From 2005 to 2011 and beyond. So initially, 2005 was the more interesting part, when I had started doing this duty. So I would be in Kulwant Hall before the morning darshan time. And when Swami comes, he would come down, and I would be there around whatever he needs. And after Aarti, Swami would retire to Purnachandra. And once he retired to Purnachandra, that time Swami had not yet given me a job in the trust. Swami gave me a job much later in February of 2006. So again, that was another thing which was happening between us, right? So Swami was now constantly trying to tempt me with, okay, you have done such a big degree, you've done an MBA, why don't you go out? Why don't you? There's a lot of, you can earn so much more salary, you can start working in these companies. And he had to be like absolutely sure that, and not only that he had to be absolutely sure, he also had to show that he really did that check to everyone, to make sure that, okay, I do not force anybody. I will constantly tell you what are the options available, and you need to like consistently choose me to in case for to go to the next step or whatever it is. And so it is only in 2006 that Swami gave me the opportunity to work in his book trust, which is now called the Sadhana Trust Publications Division. So during those 2005 years, so what I would do typically is, after morning darshan, it ends with Om Shanti Shanti. We used to say Om Shanti 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 Library. And there's a library called Shanti Library, which was next to Mandir. And we used to go there. And that was a very interesting time for me, because everything was new to me, right? So I had just started developing a relationship with Swami on a personal level, and now I was directly at a position where I was attending to him. And there are many things which are not making sense. There was so much illusion around. It was difficult to see Swami as God. And I was wondering, is this how it is? Is this how you would normally feel when you are taking care of him, when you're taking care of a guru? So at that time, I got to read a lot of very interesting books. Like there were books about They Lived with God, about disciples of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. And there was a book called Day by Day with Bhagwan, written by Sri Varadarajan Modalayar, who had a very unique opportunity of being attendant to Sri Ramana Maharishi. So I got to read about how the life was living with these masters. And I was suddenly able to relate to this very different, to relate to living with Swami, to serving Swami in a very different level. And it was not about the bling of materializations and the declarations and all those kind of things. Of course, they happen, but they are a natural progress. But on a day by day, how what are the lessons which the master is teaching just by showing up, right? So those are the kind of things, those are the kind of insights which I had opportunity to imbibe during those the years of so-called waiting. So we have this concept in Prashanthi Nilayam called waiting, where a student finishes his uh, studies, and then they just wait in Prashanthi Nilayam for Swami's instructions on what to do next. And they would refuse to take a call themselves. They want Swami to take the call for them. And there are people who have been like that for 6 years, 7 years. We used to call them Maharishis, because of the utter penance by which they are sitting. So, but Swami gave me a very crash course of that too. It was literally exactly 9 months, the time a child is in the womb. That was the time which I had for my so-called waiting period. And that is the time when I got to read all these books. And so that was one thing which happened between then and lunch. And then typically I would have lunch in the canteen and be ready for the afternoon darshan. So again, Swami would come in the afternoon, and so that was how the routine was, right? So it was more, it was a lot of time to myself. So I could read if I want to, I could reflect if I want, I could go play. And it was just the 2 darshan times when I was engaged with Swami. But then as the years moved, those things changed. And Swami called me to be with him in Purnachandra, and then subsequently in Ejur Mandir. So then the number of hours spent with Swami increased. And again, that was something which Swami is very kind with me, because I was not someone who was ready for any role which was given, right? So I was not someone who was like, Swami, I want more, give me more. I was not like that at all. I was like, Swami, I'm leaving. No, no, you stay. Okay, Swami, I'm staying. I'll work. No, 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 you come attend to me. Swami, okay, Swami, I will work somewhere. And no, no, you come inside my house. So Swami had to take me step by step inside, right? So he had to take me step by step closer, and so it was literally an ICU kind of an effect. So he had to push me in through every step. I was not helping him at all. He had to take that extra effort to push me up in each and every step. And so that is how even this to whatever stage he took me to, he took me step by step. He did not rush anywhere. He gave me my time, and he allowed me to move at my own speed.
That's amazing. It's like a fairy tale in its own way. For those of us that love Swami so much and want to be near him, that you've just had this, it's almost like it's rolled out on the red carpet for you. And definitely there's some qualities in you that Swami saw that he knew would be good for the position. What do you think were some of the things that you had cultivated from part of your life before, or that you were cultivating? You've touched on some of them. Were there any keys that when you've reflected back, like why me? What were some of the things? Do you have any answer for that? Maybe you don't, but I'm throwing it over to you. Let me know. Sayra.
But, I don't have an answer to that, and I'm glad that you don't have an answer to that, because what I've understood here, in fact, I kind of used to tell to everyone, that I'm literally an example for this fact that Swami can make anybody into anyone else. He can pick up a rock and make Krishna out of it. He can take a grass and build a magnificent palace out of it. So that is what I felt like. Probably that is an example which why he chose me. He just wanted to choose me to say that do not think that you need to be somebody to become someone else. Do not blame your past. Do not say that okay, I did not have this kind of childhood. I did not grow up in a situation where I knew about Swami. I did not go attend EHV. I did not attend Balvikas. I did not go to Swami school. I'm already 25. I'm already 30. I'm already 35. Now what can I do? Now it's too late for me. So probably this is a lesson which Swami wanted to say, that okay, it is never too late for anyone. At any time he can pick up anybody and make them his instrument. So that is probably what my absolute lack of qualification was probably my greatest qualification.
What an outstanding answer, sir. That's maybe that's because you can answer those questions so well, may have been why you were chosen. So we may have answered it indirectly. And I want to get into a little bit about the things that were learned through this process, specific examples of things. What did you learn about love while being around Swami? What did you learn about, say, motherly love? Was there anything you learned being in his presence, seeing him interact with others? Was he the mother often? Was he the father often? Was he constantly guiding people sternly as a father? What were your experiences in the closer interactions?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question, Aaron. The love of Swami literally has no parallel. You cannot compare it with any other love. If you want to compare it with anything else, it is probably by reading literature and reading about the love of the Guru. So the love of the Guru and his disciple is probably the most unconditional love which is even possible. Even the love of a mother will have the tinge of self-interest, right? It's like, okay, I really love him and I want him to do well because tomorrow they will call him as my son, or something like that. So there is some tinge of that in that. It is only the Guru whose love is like completely unconditional, and the only purpose for that is to help the disciple see what he already sees about the extreme love which already exists in the universe, about the absolute perfection which the Guru is able to see in manifestation, which the disciple struggles to see. So it is, and another thing which the Guru can do, which a parent cannot do, is he can drag you through the fires of hell if he knows that it's going to be good for you. And so if you want to call it tough love, or if you want to call it merciless love, you can call what it is, but it was love nevertheless. And the interesting thing is that though we often hear the phrase unconditional love, it is only due to my interactions with Swami that I can say that I actually understand it. It's very difficult to say this, but I really feel that I understand unconditional love. Because, as I told in the beginning, right, that sense of unworthiness was very high. And I was feeling like what it is that Swami sees in me. Why did he choose me out of the so many other people who I know are pining for this very chance and who are much more qualified to do the same? But all those defects which I saw in myself, Swami did not see. I saw 100 black dots on a whiteboard. Swami saw the whiteboard. He did not see the black dots. And in fact, during one of the interview sessions, when I was probably thinking a lot about one of the things which I'm not very proud of, Swami felt like, okay, now I really need to tell him this. And then he asked me, okay, you feel bad about this thing, right? And then I had to say, yes, Swami, I feel bad about it. Swami said, it is not a mistake. As simple as that. He said, it is not a mistake. And it was like a huge load of burden lifted from my shoulder and, thrown away into the sea. So the things which we carry around, this baggages of sin and guilt that we carry around, it is not something which Swami cares about. Because his love for us is extremely unconditional. There is nothing that we need to do to deserve it. So whatever we are doing at best is so that it is easy for us to love him back. That is the purpose for all sadhana. That is the purpose for all the service activities that we do, for all the satsangs we attend. All that, the purpose of that is just that, so that we can probably reconnect with him and to love him back. But Swami's love to us is so unconditional. It is absolutely incredible. It's incredulous. It doesn't even make sense for a human being to understand that type of relationship. So forget about loving everyone else unconditionally. If we are able to love him back unconditionally, that would be like, I feel, the greatest transformation which can come in us, irrespective of what he does to us, irrespective of what are situations he makes us face, irrespective of even if we lose faith in him. Even then, one thing which we cannot lose to him, because he will not allow us to do, is to lose love for him. Even if the love manifests as hate, it will still be a love for him, and that is going to be that there's no escape from. We cannot escape that love. That is going to be enveloping us at all times. So the more unconditional we can try to make that relationship with Swami, then there's so much more we can enjoy being connected to him, because we are going to be connected to him. There is no doubt about that. It is just to be, the more unconditional it is, the more we can enjoy that connection.
So wonderful. Wow. I'm almost speechless hearing your words describing from the best position, being right there with him all the time and experiencing through his relationship with you and his relationship with others that you saw him interact with, from your perspective, the love of Swami. I have many directions we could go from here, but I would like for you to share a couple of things regarding any revelations you had. You spoke about having some doubt at some point. I know that many devotees that are great devotees have dealt with doubt within the mind, because doubt can linger in people's minds and even fester, and Swami can resolve those. Likewise, being in the position you were in, you may have encountered any number of revelations about who he was, who he is, what his nature is, anything like that? What sort of revelations did you experience? Did you have anything happen that really kind of opened your eyes? Were there any specific incidents, Sairam?
Sairam Aaron, that's again a very deep question. So we had a very interesting session in way back in 2005. Swami gave the first interview to my parents. So Swami had called my father, and he materialized a ring for him in front of everyone, and he called them inside, and they were seated. And when we entered inside the room, we could see that Swami was literally like this. He was having one finger here, and he was in deep meditation, and he opened his eyes, and he appeared to be startled to see us there. And then he was like, then he gave that the smile of how you smile when you get caught. It's like when Krishna is stealing butter and he sees Mother Yashoda. It was literally that kind of a look of guilt, and then followed by a chuckle. And after that, Swami, the way I understood the concept of interview with Swami was something very, very unique. It was not like it was not, when you think of an interview, right? You go for a job interview, you go to a job interview, and there are people who are the panelists who are trying to see what are the qualities you have and to absorb that, right? But how do you go to a job interview to a person who knows everything about you? So that is the case here. So Swami is sitting there, and then we understood that the candidate here is not us, it is him. So he was presenting his case as to why he wants to be part of our life. And he started introducing himself, and he said, see, there is this phrase that यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सुजाम्यहम् परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संकल्पनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. These are the verses from Bhagavad Gita which talks about Narayana, or the God Supreme, mentioning that every time that there is a decline in righteousness, whenever the work of I'm sorry, did I lose you? Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, brother.
Okay, I seem to be having a problem with my computer. Just give me a moment.
Sairam, are you there?
I'm there, but for some reason, I'm not able to see the Zoom window anymore.
Okay, maybe check your bar at the bottom of your screen, maybe if you have, or anywhere that your icons are for your programs.
Yeah,
I don't know.
think I figured out what's the problem. Just give me a minute.
Okay. While Harish is working on that, I'll give a quick announcement that there will be a devotional program after this. While we're experiencing some small technical difficulties, so far this has been an absolutely amazing session with our brother Harish. And I have a couple of fun questions for him when he comes back. After this, we will have some devotional program, which should be very wonderful as well. I'm so happy that all of you are joining us on this Guru Poornima day. It is such an auspicious time, and we're basking in the love of our Mother Sai and constantly observing the guidance that he, as a guru, as a father, as God, as whatever his relationship is to you, is bestowing to all of us. It's such a unique time in history. How are we doing, Harish?
We're doing good. So I'm able, it's all fixed now. Thank you.
With
So thanks
Swami's
for the
grace.
patience.
Perhaps he wanted a little commercial interruption. So on a lighter side,
Yeah.
is it true that Swami once called you monkey face?
He did, yes. Yeah, but Aaron, I'm going to complete the answer to the previous question.
Oh, finish. Sorry. That was actually
Yeah.
very profound. I'm
Yeah.
jumping ahead. Let's go back to the
Yeah.
profound. The for the correction of evildoers, I think, is the one we're talking about, but maybe different.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he made that declaration, and then he kind of explained to us as to why he has taken this avataric mission and what it is that he plans to accomplish and all those things. And after mentioning all those things, then he started asking, then he asked me as to, okay, so you finished your MBA, what do you want to do? So at that time, again, I was going through that phase, right? That phase of change between seeing Swami as God and seeing and having a relationship with him at a personal level. So I answered to him in a very an ambiguous way, saying, Swami, I want to serve you by serving humanity. In the sense that, okay, it's not like I want to stay with you, I want to be with you, I want to serve you, because I was not ready for that at that point. He had to still do a lot more operations within my heart before I was ready for that. So I made the statement, then immediately Swami responded saying, you want to serve humanity, that's wonderful, but to do that, you need inner strength. And then my mother, being what my mother does, immediately she turned towards Swami and said, Swami, you only should give that inner strength to him, my son. And Swami said, yeah, I will do that. So that was how Swami introduced himself to us. But then after I started doing this duty and all that, as I was mentioning earlier, I was not able to see, I was not able to connect to Swami at a divine level much. There were used to be one or two times when Swami would say something and then you would realize that, okay, he knows everything. But most of the interactions would be at an extreme human level as to, in fact, it would literally be like an interaction between a 75-year-old and you, right? So you don't even feel like, I mean, is he really God? That kind of questions would constantly be haunting your mind. So when one of those days, and the kind of space which Swami gives you, at least during those early days, is such that you could just go ahead and ask him anything. So I went to Swami and said, Swami, I'm not able to see you as God. He said, what do you mean? I said, Swami, I'm not able to see you as, I'm just seeing you as another human being. I'm not able to connect with you as God. And I said that with the expectation that probably Swami will now become, Rama or Krishna or Jesus and give me a different kind of a vision, which I could carry on and, and talk about for the rest of my life and hold that as the basis of my faith. But instead, Swami responded to that with a very interesting question as to, do you have love? And for that, I was taken aback by that question, because I thought I was talking to him about something totally different. But then he asked me, do you have love? And then I said, that was true. And I said, yes, Swami, I do have love. And then Swami said, Prema unte chalo. If you have love, that is enough. You don't need anything else. So that has kind of defined my relationship with him, right? So even a faith is going to be constantly tested with doubts. No matter what we base our faith on, there is going to be some question or other, some doubts or the other, which is going to keep arising on that basis of faith. Whereas love can only be tasted. There is no test for love. So you just have to experience it, and it is something which is very manifested. It is very palpable. It is not possible for anyone who wishes to connect to Swami to not feel his love. And that is the Satya Sai guarantee. And that love is something which can be tasted at all times. So that, if you ask me what is my relationship with Swami, it is just that, as a loving presence who's always there in my background. Hopefully at some point he's going to come to my foreground, but as of now he's in the background. Yeah.
Well, it's wonderful though. I mean, love is definitely the most important thing that Swami always says. And the aspect of relationship is something that allows for that. It allows for this love to exist. And oneness, it's not like love, it's something that's just is. But in this sense of having love for the Guru, I'm sure you must have an abundance, and he's had you around him so much as a result of that, and perhaps just as an example. I mean, we're learning a lot from this conversation, for sure. I know I am. Is there anything, we have some time left, and I still have the curiosity about the other thing I mentioned, but we'll get back to that. What is it that you learned the most from being around Swami for so long and seeing him interact with everyone? Was it this importance of unconditional love? Was it something else? Were there other, that's probably one of the things. You got to see him interact with a lot of people. You got to be around and be privy to those conversations. Was there something you learned maybe that you took into your own life about the best way to interact with people, the way that Swami interacts with people, and how that's applicable for all of us, with him as a guru, with him as a teacher, with him as an example? Saira.
Saira Madam, that's a very beautiful thing, which I can only hope to imbibe, which is that when Swami is interacting with anyone, right, his interaction is, his attention to that person is 100%. And so powerful is that interaction that very often those interactions literally happen for seconds. It's like they would have had the conversation for, if you literally timed it, it would have been 20 to 25 seconds. But then they will go back feeling like they had a conversation with Swami for half an hour. Because that would be the amount of availability which Swami would have for that person at that moment. When Swami is speaking to that person, it will really feel that for Swami at that moment, no one else exists in the entire universe except the person whom he is speaking to.
Amazing.
And I've heard many people tell me this, like, it was so great. Swami spoke to me for 10 minutes. I was like, no, I was there. Swami spoke to you for 10 seconds. But it's impossible for them to believe that the conversation actually happened only for 10 seconds. So when when we talk about how Bhagavad Gita was narrated in front of for such a long time, when there's army on both sides who are ready for war, right? How was that conversation able to happen? It happened because the kind of the way time exists when you're interacting with Swami on a complete intense level is a different, definitely at a very different level from how time interacts with a different, when you're having a conversation with somebody else, because that is the intensity of his conversations. And this intensity of Swami's conversation was consistent. It was not like he would speak like this to the prime minister of the country and he would speak in a different way to uh, uh, literally to somebody who was accompanying the prime minister as a security guard. This intensity would be same when he's having the interaction with both of them, and both of them would come back feeling equally special. And that is something which only Swami could do, and that is something which we can aspire to do. It's not, again, Swami has been very clear that when he says my life is my message, he says everything which I have done is something which we others, when we are looking at him, we can follow and we can imbibe. So Swami is as human as us and we are as divine as Swami. It is just that we have to have that faith. And again, here is a very important question of what is that faith? When Swami talks about faith, he doesn't talk about having the faith in the fact that he is God. Swami says, have the faith in yourself. Have the faith in yourself that you are not this limited company of your body and your senses and your motor organs and your mind. Have the faith in that oneness in yourself. Have that faith that you can accomplish anything which can be accomplished. And as an example for that, I am standing in front of you accomplishing all those things. So you look at me, see, are you able to see all the things which I'm able to do? Know that if I can do it, you can do it.
And
That is the brilliance of his actions. Sorry, Aaron, you were saying something.
oh, Sairam, I definitely wanted to let you finish. It does bring up something that I think is an important thing I'd love to cover, and you're leading right into it. We're pushing little on time, but I think we have some space. Um, it's an important question. What did you learn about the physical body and how that relates? There's two aspects to this. One that I was going to ask. One is, Swami allowed there to be physical limitation in the body. We saw that going on, or what appeared to be. And then he also was, I'm sure, and we've experienced, and I personally experienced, this inner aspect of Swami that's shining through all of that. You've had such a distinct position to observe. What lessons did you take away from being around Swami appearing to be limited? And or did you see things in his inner world going on that were shining through that and helping you to further understand how we deal with that process? Because the body is going to decay and the body is going to die, and all the cases that we've seen thus far that we know of, and we expect that it may happen to each of us. What did you learn about that process through being around Swami during that time, and him as an example?
That's a good question, Aaron, in the sense that I think probably the number one thing which I understood from Swami was, again, as I was mentioning earlier, right? He wanted to make sure that we have no excuses. At no point can we say that Swami did this because he is Swami, or he is God, or he is an avatar. He wanted to be very clear that whatever he was doing it as a human being, as someone as human as we are and as divine as we are, right? So again, that is, if the Swami makes it very clear that that line is very blurry about where is human and where is God. That's why Swami is like very clear. One of the most important things he wants to make sure is that you don't cross the next line. Just tell yourself, who are you? I am a human being. I am not an animal. I am a human being, not an animal. Not an animal. I am a human being. At least be very clear about that. Don't get into your animal instincts. Don't get into what you are not. So be a human. And to Swami, there's not really much difference between being a human and being God. Let that sink in. There is not much difference between being a human and being God. So when he said that, I have come in have given the human my form, or whatever it is, it literally means that all the potentiality of being divine is already present in us. So to be blessed with being a human being is already blessed with all the aspects of being a divine. So there's nothing additional which is required. So now Swami talks about all the discipline and all those things which we need to do to realize our full potential. So those are the things which he has been doing constantly and showing us by demonstration. Even by the amount of food he eats, he eats extremely small quantities of food, and he is very clear about the kind of food that he eats and what are the kind of food which he allows it to enter his body. So I've not I don't think Swami has ever eaten something which is bought in a shop. So anything which has gone inside Swami's body, at least in the years when I was there, was something which was cooked with love by people who loved him. And the quantity which he eats also is extremely low. It's very small, and he just eats enough to sustain himself. And all those, at a physical level, what needs to be done to maintain uh, a body which is as consistent with its divine nature as possible, he does that, and he demonstrates that, and he makes it replicable. At the same time, he has also made sure that he has gone through all the so-called sufferings which a human being can go through, right? Now, both at a physical level as well as a mental level. It's not like Swami has not faced loss. He has faced loss at every level. And in physical also, all the limitations which comes with old age and all that, he has taken it upon himself. But the thing which he has tried to show consistently is how he cares as less as possible for all those things which are limiting him. So even though he had so much difficulty, he used to ensure that he would stand when he gave a discourse, because he says that all these people have come to me and I need to show them the respect. So we talk constantly about respecting God, right? But here is God talking about respecting those who have come to see him, because that is how valuable we were to him. Swami is one of the many things in the agenda for us. Okay, we have our family, we have our job, we have our friends, we have our social cycle, and we have Swami. For Swami, there is us. Period. There's nothing else. So that is the respect that he showed us. And so he had to stand when he spoke, because he felt that it is disrespectful to sit and talk the way I'm doing right now. He would stand, and with all the difficulty, he would stand and he would give a talk till there came a time when that was no longer feasible. And there were so many letters written by devotees saying that, it is so much painful for them to see the way Swami is standing that they're not able to listen to what Swami speaks. So they also had to do all these kind of uh, reverse psychology with Swami to make. That is the most beautiful thing which happens, right? The interaction with the love between devotee and Swami, and how they convince Swami to do the things which we think are good for him. So, and that is when the only for the last few couple of years, when Swami used to sit and give his discourses. So he did not allow his body limitations to restrict him from doing what was his duty. So all those things were the divine manifestation which he showed or showed to us, but while at the same time making sure that he was enduring all the suffering which the human body would endure.
Absolutely, bringing it all back together. Wonderful, brother, to tie it back together in this way. On this Guru Poornima day, we look at our Guru, who is our teacher, who is showing us by taking on the physical form of a human, enduring, as you say, physical, mental, all the things that human beings undergo, and showing how to be divine amidst all of that. We thank you so much for your time today. I mean, it's truly a treasure for us to hear these things. And this is in no way lip service. I have truly learned a lot from listening to you, brother. Your experience is invaluable to all people that would seek to know more about developing themselves and following their guru, understanding their relationship with the divine, understanding love, unconditional love, mother's love, father's guidance. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being with us today. Jai Sairam.
Sairam, thank you so much for this opportunity, and it has been great. It has been great to relive all these things, talking to all of you. It would have been much greater if it was one-on-one, but at least I'm thankful to Aaron for coming on and showing his face so that it feels like a proper interaction. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam. Ravi, over to you. Sairam.
Sairam, as you all can see me with the mask, this is,
Sairam.
this is the way we are going to be at the center when we initially start our devotional program. Hopefully we'll be able to get back to the center by first or second week of September. But in the meantime, in a small way, we have started the devotional program, in-person devotional program starting today from our home. But the idea is to take those baby steps and carry it forward to the center. Yeah, so it only shows that yes, I can even sing, by wearing mask, but we don't have to. Anytime, it's uncomfortable, of course, we can remove. But however, it's definitely operable. Um, so, Brother Aaron, thank you so much for moderating the session. I am so glad it is you who, took care of the session. You not only took away the burden, I was stress-free. So thankful to you, Saira.
Sairam.
Saira. Also, Brother Harish, yes, I wish it was an in-person retreat or a workshop or an interactive session with you, but it's not only to you, even for all the viewers who are on the session. All that I can say is that this is just part one, just for everyone's information. Hari's dear wife, Sister Ranjani, she's a fantastic, Sai Ranjani. She's a fantastic musician and an ardent devotee and a great speaker as well. So as soon as things get better, we will have, of course, the request to Harish and his family that they come, and we all will have an in-person session and a retreat with them. Brother Harish, whenever I see you, I only draw that energy. I only draw that inspiration. Thank you for showing us how one can be so modest, so simple, but yet so devoted. Thank you so much for honoring our request and being with us this afternoon and traversing us through many walks of Swami's life and many walks of a devotee's life. On behalf of Atlanta Sai Center, I sincerely offer our most heartfelt gratitude to you for being with us and sharing all those lovely stories. And either I'll email it to you, but given a chance, I want to keep it with me so that I will give it to you in person in Atlanta when you come. And here is a token of love, waiting for you in Atlanta.
Thank you, Ravi, and thanks for openly mentioning how stressful it is for you to talk to me. And I'm glad that Aaron took over that as
see, this is another beauty of Harish, where just like that brings the sense of humor out of Sai Ram.
Thank you, Ravi. Sai Ram.
Next session, I want to do some Swami humor with Harish as well, because the monkey face story is to come in the future as well. Sai Ram. He has such a great sense of humor. Sai Ram.
The monkey face is already displayed on the screen there, so it's for all to see.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
So, thanks again for joining, all of you. A few bhajans and a medley has been put together for today's devotion program. And as soon as that is done, today's regional satsang is starting at 5 o'clock. It's all filled with Swami's divine discourses, and also wonderful bhajans lined up there as well. So let us all continue to dwell on, continue to dive in and tune in and enjoy the rest of the day as well. Thank you all. Jai Sai Ram.
गुरु साई महेश्वरा गुरु साई महेश्वरा गुरु साई महेश्वरा गुरु साई महेश्वरा करुणा करा करुणामया करुणा करा करुणामया प्रशांति साई सुंदरा प्रशांति साई सुंदरा प्रशांति साई सुंदरा प्रशांति साई सुंदरा परब्रह्म रूप परात् परा रूप परात् परा परब्रह्म रूप परात् परा रूप परात् परा त्रिविक्रमा नारायणा विक्रमा त्रिविक्रमा नारायणा त्रिविक्रमा नारायणा ब्रह्म विष्णु महेश्वरा ब्रह्म विष्णु महेश्वरा ब्रह्म विष्णु महेश्वरा ब्रह्म विष्णु महेश्वरा गुरु साई महेश्वरा गुरु साई महेश्वरा करुणा करा करुणामया करुणा करा करुणामया प्रशांति साई सुंदरा प्रशांति साई सुंदरा परब्रह्म रूप परात् परा परब्रह्म रूप परात् परा त्रिविक्रमा नारायणा त्रिविक्रमा नारायणा ब्रह्म विष्णु महेश्वरा महेश्वरा ब्रह्म विष्णु महेश्वरा
ब्रह्म विष्णु महेश्वरा
गुरु साई महेश्वरा
सद्गुरु ब्रह्म सनातन है
सद्गुरु ब्रह्म सनातन है
सद्गुरु ब्रह्म सनातन है
सद्गुरु ब्रह्म सनातन है
परम दया गण पावन है
परम दया गण पावन है
परम दया घन पावन है
परम दया गण पावन है
जन्म दुख विनाशन है
जन्म दुख विनाशन है
जन्म दुख विनाशन है
जन्म दुख विनाशन है
जगदोधारण कारण है
जगदोधारण तारण है
जगदोधारण कारण है
जगदोधारण तारण है
साई कृष्ण जनार्दन है
साई कृष्ण जनार्दन है
साई कृष्ण जनार्दन है
साई कृष्ण जनार्दन है
भव भय जलधि कारण है
भव भय जलधि तारण है
भव भय जलधि तारण है
भव भय जलधि तारण है
सद्गुरु ब्रह्म सनातन है
सद्गुरु ब्रह्म सनातन है
परम दया घन पावन है
परम दया गण पावन है
जन्म दुख विनाशन है
जन्म दुख विनाशन है
जगदोधारण कारण है
जगदोधारण तारण है
साई कृष्ण जनार्दन है
साई कृष्ण जनार्दन है
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 साई कृष्ण जनार्दन है
साई कृष्ण जनार्दन है
भव भय जलधि कारण है
भव भय जलधि तारण है
भव भय जलधि कारण है
भव भय जलधि तारण है
सद्गुरु ब्रह्म सनातन है
गुरु महिमा गाओ गुरु महिमा गाओ
गुरु महिमा गाओ
गुरु महिमा गाओ
गुरु महिमा गाओ
सद्गुरु साई अनंत गुरु
सद्गुरु साई अनंत गुरु
ब्रह्मानंद अनंत गुरु
ब्रह्मानंद अनंत गुरु
सर्वधर्म सत्य साई गुरु
सर्वधर्म प्रिय साई गुरु
साई गुरु सत्य साई गुरु
साई गुरु सत्य साई गुरु
सर्वधर्म सत्य साई गुरु
सर्वधर्म सत्य साई गुरु
गुरु के वाणी गाओ
गुरु के वाणी गाओ
गुरु के वाणी गाओ
गुरु के वाणी गाओ
जय गुरुदेवा प्रभु साई देवा
जय गुरुदेवा प्रभु साई देवा
देवादिदेवा प्रणमाम्यहम्
देवादिदेवा प्रणमाम्यहम्
शिव शिव शम्भो कैलासपते
शिव शिव शम्भो कैलासपते
पर्तिपुरीश्वर पालय मां
पर्तिपुरीश्वर पालय मां
देवादिदेवा प्रणमाम्यहम्
वादिदेवा प्रणमाम्यहम्
साई देवादिदेवा प्रणमाम्यहम्
साई देवादिदेवा प्रणमाम्यहम्
गुरु बाबा गुरु बाबा
गुरु बाबा गुरु बाबा
चरण नमोस्तुते गुरु बाबा
चरण नमोस्तुते गुरु बाबा
विद्यादायक गुरु बाबा
गुरु बाबा
शांत स्वरूपा गुरु बाबा
शांत स्वरूपा गुरु बाबा
गुरुवर गुरुवर गुरु बाबा
गुरुवर गुरुवर गुरु बाबा
जय गुरुवर गुरुवर गुरु बाबा
गुरुवर गुरुवर गुरु बाबा
जय जय गुरुदेवा श्री साई महादेवा
जय जय गुरुदेवा साई महादेवा
जय जय गुरुदेवा श्री 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 साई महादेवा
ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश्वरा साई महादेवा
ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश्वरा साई महादेवा
माता पिता गुरुदेवा श्री साई महादेवा
माता पिता गुरुदेवा श्री साई महादेवा
माता पिता गुरुदेवा श्री साई महादेवा
माता पिता गुरुदेवा सत्य साई महादेवा।
वाहे गुरु जी बोलो,
वाहे गुरु जी बोलो,
सतनाम 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 जी बोलो,
सत्य नाम जी बोलो।
नित्य नित्य जपिए तेरे नाम जी बोलो,
नित्य नित्य जपिए तेरे नाम जी बोलो।
सत्यनाम 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 जी बोलो,
सत्य नाम जी बोलो।
राम 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 जी बोलो,
राम 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 जी बोलो।
राम 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 जी बोलो,
राम 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 जी बोलो।
नित्य नित्य जपिए राम नाम जी बोलो,
नित्य नित्य जपिए तत् नाम जी बोलो।
कृष्ण 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 जी बोलो,
कृष्ण 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 जी बोलो।
नित्य नित्य जपिए कृष्ण नाम जी बोलो,
नित्य नित्य जपिए कृष्ण नाम जी बोलो।
नित्य नित्य जपिए कृष्ण नाम जी बोलो,
नित्य नित्य जपिए कृष्ण नाम जी बोलो।
मानस भजरे गुरु चरणम,
मानस भजरे गुरु
दुस्तर भव सागर तरणम,
सरवर सागर तरणम।
गुरु महाराज गुरु दे दे,
गुरु महाराज गुरु
साईनाथ सद्गुरु दे दे। ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय शिवाय नमो।
ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय ओम नमः शिवाय शिवाय नमः।
अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुण शिवो,
अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुण शिवो।
ओंकारं भव ओंकारं भव ओंकारं भव ओम नमो बाबा।
ओंकारं भव ओंकारं भव ओंकारं भव ओम नमो बाबा।
ओंकारं भव ओंकारं भव ओंकारं भव ओम नमो बाबा।
ओंकारं भव ओंकारं भव ओंकारं भव ओम नमो बाबा।
मानस भजरे गुरु चरणम, दुस्तर भव सागर तरणम।
ओम जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे।
भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक परति महेश्वरा।
ओम जय जगदीश हरे
शशिवदना
श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते।
कल्पलटीका आश्रित कल्पलटीका
आपद बांधवा। ओम जय जगदीश हरे।
मरियंतयु नीवे स्वामी मरियंतयु नीवे। नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ
नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ
नागेन्द्र शयना। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी
ओ साई महादेवा सत्य साई महादेवा। మంగళహారతి అందుకు మంగళహారతి అందుకు మందరగిరిధారి ఓం జయ జగదీశ హరే నారాయణ నారాయణ ఓం సత్యనారాయణ నారాయణ నారాయణ ఓం నారాయణ నారాయణ ఓం సత్యనారాయణ నారాయణ ఓం సత్యనారాయణ నారాయణ ఓం జయ సద్గురుదేవా నారాయణ నారాయణ ఓం సత్యనారాయణ నారాయణ నారాయణ ఓం నారాయణ నారాయణ ఓం సత్యనారాయణ నారాయణ ఓం సత్యనారాయణ నారాయణ ఓం సద్గురుదేవా నారాయణ నారాయణ ఓం సత్యనారాయణ నారాయణ నారాయణ ఓం నారాయణ నారాయణ ఓం సత్యనారాయణ నారాయణ ఓం సత్యనారాయణ నారాయణ ఓం ఓం జయ సద్గురుదేవా శాంతి 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 సమస్తలోకా సుఖినో భవంతు సమస్తలోకా సుఖినో భవంతు సమస్తలోకా సుఖినో భవంతు ఓం శాంతి శాంతి शांति जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय परमं पवित्रं बाबा विभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूतिं परमार्थ इष्टार्थ मोक्ष प्रदातं बाबा विभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि बाबा विभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि साई बाबा